I think that's always a tightrope. Like when you're internally at a company and you're trying to level up, what you think that the right time is, and your patience is always gonna run hotter than your boss. It's just 9 times out of 10 it always is. But if it's just like we just on a slightly different time frame, but here's the path and here's the way. Okay, cool. But if it's like you can't see the light, you don't see a path, and they're not being clear with you, then you have to analyze how much longer you're going to spend building at this company where you don't have a runway.
Yeah, I think the more senior you get, it's shifting from being a doer to a leader and a strategist.
Absolutely.
Like you have to definitely do a lot more leadership, a lot of more strategy. Yeah. Some people don't like to manage people, and I think that's fine. I think you can still move up the ranks, not necessarily being a manager and managing. I actually think being a manager is the biggest scam of all time.
Tell me.
They
tell
prop
me more
this
about
thing
that.
up as like, oh, it's so great. You're a manager. You manage people. That shit is fucking hard.
It's hard.
Okay? And it's not for everyone. And what it means is that you basically now spend all your time making sure that other people are doing good.
I know.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're a really good manager, sometimes it's harder to get promoted.
Right, because they don't want you to just, they don't want to destabilize. Right, they don't want to destabilize.
I think it's not all that. I think that people who are honest and like, I don't want to manage, but I still want to move up, should have that conversation and then find ways to add value to the company that's going to bring in revenue. And you can do that anywhere. Like you could be in a back office department in the mailroom.
Sure.
Come up with something that's going to make the mailroom more efficient and then translate that to either dollars saved or dollars made.
Absolutely.
If you're able to do that and like pitch, I think everybody should take a sales class regardless of like what position you're in. Oh my God. Because that will help you to continue to like raise upon the ranks and accelerate.
Absolutely.
The other fast track is just who you know. Let's just be honest. It's who you know.
Of course.
So you should spend all the time, as much as it sometimes will feel icky, like, oh, I don't want to talk to that person. Like, I don't want to be that person. If you need that edge to try and get that promotion.
Absolutely.
Or if you didn't get it that year, then your focus should be trying to, like, network with the people who are going to make that happen. Continue to do your work. And if you're in a good place with the company, I agree. I think you wait it out another year or whatever that time frame is.
Right.
If they give you, like, a clear reason why and what you need to do.
Absolutely.
But then, to me, that would be like immediately start networking and trying to get other advocates to help you get there. If you're already at a place in your company where you're like, I deserve this and like I don't really love it anymore and I'm overworked and blah, blah, then I would say you don't get it, fucking leave.
Yeah.
Because honestly, you're probably going to get paid more money somewhere else.
Right, absolutely.
Getting that job.
Right.
Because you always get paid more leaving the company.
Absolutely.
Not always, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of the time.
For the most part. Yeah, for the most part. No, but I think you hit on a key thing, which is like, in terms of like everyone should take a sales class, like everyone should network. And, whether it's sales used to be very icky to me too, and for a lot of creatives, like it's like, but like figuring out your version of it, like I had to kind of like work on figuring out like what's my version of this that feels authentic to me and not like no one wants to feel like a used car salesman.
Yeah, exactly.
But the biggest thing that sales training gave me was just the shift in perspective, because when you're like normally when you're thinking about, well, I want this and I want, it's me. I want this. And you're thinking about your career and I'm trying to get this and I'm trying to. And what real good sales training will do to you is it will say, no one gives a fuck about you.
No, yeah.
No one, and get over it. Yeah. No one gives a fuck about you. Yeah. You have to figure out what your company needs, what your senior people need, what the people around you need, and how you can deliver and service that and let them know that you're delivering and servicing on that.
Right.
And when you can get rid of like the ego part of it, and make it be about the satisfying the audience, delivering on the promise, you at least get out of the, you can take that other part out. And if you didn't get the sale or you didn't get the promote, it's like, oh, there's something more I need to do here. You know what I mean? Or you can look at neutrally like, okay, where do I need to grow? What did I do right? Where was I prepared? Where wasn't I prepared? It just makes it a more neutral transaction. And it's not to say that these conversations are always fair, right? Because obviously they're not. No. And there are things within that, but it just gives you a framework to be like, whatever it is, okay, there's a path I can get better, whether it's with this place and this company, or whether I'm taking this and selling myself somewhere else in a way that's effective. It just got me out of my own head and thinking about like, oh, I'm here to give you value. I'm here to solve your problem. And what is the problem that I'm trying to solve? And what's the cost benefit analysis of you solving that problem with me? Right. And either I've made that metric and hit that bar and we have a sale, or we don't. It just neutralized everything for me.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's a good point. And I think too, it's one of those situations where once you recognize that as well, your whole agenda needs to kind of surround that.
Absolutely.
And then if at any point in time, the strategic initiatives that you're trying to carry out no longer align with the perspective of who your audience is, then that's a pivotal point for you to decide, do I remain here and continue to lobby them to convince them that this is what they need?
Right.
Or are they who they are? I don't think they're going to get there in the time frame that I am expecting them to get there. And now it's time for me to exit.
Right.
Because that is super important. At the end of the day, it's not your company unless it's your company.
Unless it's your company.
You work for that company.
Put it on a T-shirt.
You work for that company, and it's not your company.
That, kids? It's not your company
unless it's your company. You know?
Period.
And so you got to play in their rules.
That's hard.
It's hard. It's ego.
Listen, I have definitely been in scenarios where you can see what a company, like in my view, like what you should do, and these are things that you can like ways you can improve and like ways you can, and they just don't care.
They just don't care. They just don't care.
You can make it better. There's this, and they
don't
just
care, and you can't understand it.
You can't understand it.
Why?
I know.
It's so obvious.
Oh my God.
It's so obvious. But you have to remember, you only see the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
There's a whole iceberg underneath.
True. That's true.
The visible iceberg.
Sure.
And so you don't know. Maybe that board is on the path of planning succession. Maybe they're going to sell. Maybe they have decided that they want to allocate money in this other area, and this project was already committed for the next 3 years. And while you have a good point, it's not going to happen. Maybe your advocate is looking to leave, and so they're not going to put you in a position where they approve your project, and then you're going to be set up to fail because you're going to have a manager shift. And then that you're not going to be successful.
Exactly.
So you have to.
There's a lot of different reasons.
It's sometimes. Like everybody is on a need to know kind of basis for the most part. And so there's so many layers to like why sometimes people don't move forward with something that could be your initiative that seems like pretty brilliant and would be advantageous to the company.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's just they don't like you. And they're just like
period. It's a good idea, but it's coming from the wrong mouth.
Person.
No, period.
You just got to recognize it, though.
I know.
But you're not going to change their mind.
Right.
It's their company.
Like, but it's letting go.
Right.
Like letting go. Letting go of it can be hard.
It
like
can be very hard. But then you got to decide, what do you want?
Exactly.
And at that point, it's like, does this company still work or not for me? And then make that shift.
Exactly, because your values and the company's values may not be aligned.
I think the more senior you get, the more you start thinking about like me versus the company in a way.
Yes, I think it inverts at a certain point. Yeah,
it does.
I think it inverts at a certain point.
And then you negotiate everything to sort of like what's going to benefit your tenure at the end. And you have to kind of, because like every company has a life cycle.
Absolutely.
And so you have to sort of be
balance out your...
You have to decide.
Right.
There comes a point where, like going back to the equity interest, there comes a point where you need to decide, am I going to continue to work to try and get equity and then be anchored in this company? Or actually, maybe I don't want that equity at this company and I only want to get to this level. And then leave so that I can go and get equity at a company that I actually believe in.
Exactly. But I want to use this position to show these are the wins, and this is how I increased this from 5 to 20%. This is how I took this from here to here, with metrics that will help you get a job at another place where they're going to value what it is that you're doing.
I agree.
In a different way. So that's definitely a part of it.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts on this.
Listen, I think the first work with especially around money and salary, is internal. Like I have found the biggest shifts I've had with clients have come just when I'm able to get them to look at money differently, to look at themselves differently, look at their own value differently, and get that internal confidence going within themselves. and then projecting that out, backing that up with research, backing that up with conversations, backing that up with a strategy of like how to either go in and bless you, how to go in and start a salary negotiation, or work towards, getting your raise or promotion, within, your first year and a half of being at a company.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it comes down to self-awareness.
Sure.
And
always.
like self-reflection, like understanding what can you tolerate, what do you want, and recognizing your place in that company.
Right.
Where you want to go and do those align or not. And ultimately it's your call.
Right.
So
we have more power than I think we remember.
Yeah, I think so. I think so many times people think like, oh, the company screwed me or whatever. Like, it's their fault. It's not. It's yours. Because at the end of the day, like, you decided to go to work every day. And you stayed.
Yeah.
So if you...
So you talking about the man or you talking about the job? Or just
I'm talking about... Yeah. Yeah, but I'm saying like...
I got a little tricky there for a second.
But when it comes down to salary, it's like... And you're trying to level up or do any of those things, you need to recognize, don't forget the court you're playing in. And do you still want to play that game?
Absolutely.
Or does that game no longer serve you?
Absolutely.
But then at that point, you got to be willing to walk.
Yes.
You have to be willing to walk.
For real. Yeah. You can't play.
Yeah.
If you can't play, you have to be willing to say no and walk away from the table if they don't give you what you actually are asking
100%.
for.
I say like one other thing I wanted to mention that I had a thought earlier and then it's now coming back around is if we're looking at promotions or you're trying to get a salary bump, the best way to do that if you actually want to stay at your company is to see what's out there in the market.
Absolutely.
And then come to the table with a comparison or a competing offer.
Yeah.
Get a competing offer.
Absolutely.
Get a competing offer, but you have to be willing to walk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It can't just be a dangle. It has to be a real play. Yeah. Because once you start doing that, you can't play around. You have to be ready.
Yeah. So.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the Exit interview. Subscribe, like, and comment, and let us know if you like this episode.